first team we're going to look at is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are the challengers in this one, as the Chiefs are attempting to defend their Super Bowl title. So, how did we get here? The Bucs went 11-5 in the regular season, and of course, if you want to go before this, go into the preseason. This is a team that got Tom Brady, and that was huge news. I remember when this all went down, people were losing their minds, and honestly, I didn't. Not very many people saw this coming. Lucky for me, I saw this coming 2 days before it happened. I said, well, you can go back on the YouTube channels and look that out. But I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one right there. But they assemble essentially what's looking like the super team, at least offensively. And the first couple weeks, it didn't really look like that. They had that big win over the Packers early in the season. But besides that, they've been almost iffy all season long, but they've been winning. They haven't been winning well, but a win's a win at this point. But they go 11-5 in the regular season. Their losses, they suffer 2 to the Saints, 1 34-23, and then 1 just absolutely demolished 38-3. They also lost to the Bears. We all remember that game on Thursday Night Football, which was extremely weird to go down. I wasn't expecting that one. They lost to the Rams 27-24, as well as the Chiefs 27-24. Then the playoffs, they were the road warriors this year. They go on the road in every game and they win all 3 of them. They beat Washington in the wild card round 31-23. They beat New Orleans in the divisional round 30-20, avenging those 2 previous losses they had to them this season. Then they go on and they handle Green Bay at Lambeau in January, and they beat them 31-26 and make their way to the Super Bowl. Now, let's talk those losses to the Saints. Brady did not look good. We'll see a theme as we progress through these games. Brady did not look good against the Saints. That first game, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The second game, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And it just was not pretty. It wasn't a good performance in any bit of the meaning. Him and the offense just kind of grabbed the bed in those games. And if you want to look at that, they had 86 rushing yards in game 1 and only 8 in game 2. Of course, 8 rushing yards makes sense when you could only put up 3 points on the board. Versus the Bears. Let's talk about that Thursday night game. Of course, this was a Nick Foles game where Tom Brady, once again, it's like the Super Bowl 52 all over again, where he goes out and he loses to Nick Foles in a primetime game. We had this is also a game, if you want to remember this, when Tom Brady threw up the 4 fingers and he kind of forgot what down it was. So of course we had Bruce Arians after the game doing a little damage control. No, Tom Brady did not forget what. Of course you're going to say that. Of course you're not going to make the GOAT look out to have one of the dumbest kind of mental lapses that you could. And it's the Bears just escaping late in this game with the field goal. In the game that was sloppy by both teams, it was the Bears. What do you expect from them? You kind of expected a little more from the Bucs. You did not expect them to lose this game, especially in the fashion that they did. Especially when you have Tom Brady being outdueled by Nick Foles. That's a thorn in his side that he will never be able to get out. Now that game against the Rams, this was, if I would say it, this was the better game. Yeah, this was the better. You can't really call it good because loss is loss. This is a better game compared to what they did. Compared to the rest of their 4 losses, this was definitely the best one by far. Because you had Tom Brady throwing for over 200 yards this game, but still they didn't do anything. This is what happens when you run through a buzzsaw that is a Los Angeles Rams defense. Tom Brady couldn't get anything done this game. Besides, the 24 points is cool, but besides that, it was really, really tough on them. And once again, a Buccaneers loss. Tom Brady throws a multi-interception game. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Tampa Bay limited just to 251 yards of total offense in this one. And then also it doesn't help when you only have 35 rushing yards? 35 rushing yards. That's not going to win you football games. So you can see there's a couple key stats I'm focusing in on here when it comes to wins and especially the losses for the Tampa Bay Bucs. When you look at the losses for the Tampa Bay Bucs, there's two stats that stand out. One lesser is your rush game. They were averaging about 100 yards rushing during the regular season. They've averaged about 115 yards during these 3 postseason games. So those are good stats. But when they can't get to that, and when Tom Brady's sloppy, when Tom Brady's throwing 2 to 3 interceptions a game, that's when they lose. Their only game where Tom Brady, or at least their only loss that Tom Brady did not throw for an interception was against the Bears. But of course, that was only 250 yard, 1 touchdown performance. That's not going to get it done. I know that Bears defense was well above average. It was the only kind of redeeming quality about that team this year. Like, most years previously, let's be honest. It's not the MVP, Mitch Trubisky. Shout out to the GOAT status right there. But you can't do that. You can't do that, okay? I mean, we all know this. We all know football. You can't turn the ball over like this, Tom Brady.